Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, I'm proud to present an up-close and personal in-depth look with the all-new McLaren 570S. In this review, we'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data. We'll take it on a thorough drive and show you many of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as exterior. Before we begin, I'd also like to extend a huge thanks and shout out to McLaren Philadelphia for providing this opportunity to us today. For more information about the dealership, including contact info and current inventory, please feel free to check out their website provided in the description box below. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start it up, let her run. One thing I'd like to point out before we get started is that this car is actually an early pre-production test vehicle for McLaren, so fit and finish may not be an exact representation of the final product. The 570S launched with 17 exterior colors, including 3 standard, 6 special, and 8 elite colors. Our tester is finished in McLaren orange and features quite a lot of carbon fiber exterior upgrades. There's a number of interior colors and materials available as well, from full leather to Alcantara and even a combination of the two, not to mention these optional P1 inspired racing seats. Keeping things personal, the 570S is without a doubt the most customizable McLaren to date. Of course, I'll be highlighting all the important options and features as we go through the video. To start, all you have to do is just make sure you have the key fob within the interior, then simply put your foot on the brake and hit the console mounted button to go. The 570S features an electro-hydraulic rack and pinion steering system that's designed to deliver a more natural feel over a fully electric setup. In other words, it's able to take advantage of some of the efficiency benefits but retain the behavior of traditional hydraulic setups. McLaren reports that the 570 steering reacts faster than the steering in the 650S, taking just 2.5 turns to lock. The turning circle is 40.3 feet. Comparing specs, this should mean that the 570 steering behavior would be more relatable to the 675 LT. I've never driven one though, so all that is chalked up to speculation. What I was able to conclude after spending a couple days with this car is that the 570 steering is one of the best I've ever driven, hands down. The reason being is that it communicates so well and delivers so much feedback. The car just feels balanced and agile to the point, it's almost as if it sees a curve ahead and preemptively prepares for your next move. The excellent visibility sure doesn't hurt. The windshield is taller than it is wide, the cowl is nice and low, and the front wheel arches sit directly over the center points of the wheels, allowing for greater precision on turn-in as you know exactly where the car is sitting on the road at all times. Compared to the Super Series, the A-pillars have been moved further outward, accompanied by narrower B-pillars. The 3-spoke flat-bottom multifunction steering wheel is also shared with the Super Series, a comfortable design with thumb rests at 3 and 9 without any pronounced grip bolsters. It comes wrapped in leather, but Alcantara is available, as are carbon fiber spokes. As with any other McLaren we've looked at, there aren't any controls or anything like that on the steering wheel, just a simple design with nice detailing and a stitched airbag cover. The electro-hydraulic pump also operates an optional front-end lift system which can increase ride height by 1.6 inches at speeds of up to 37 miles per hour. This is all controlled by the bottom stalk to the left of the steering column, the same one that controls the driver information system. Like the Super Series, the 570S uses McLaren's seamless shift gearbox, or SSG. It's a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission that sends power to the rear wheels. It's operated by a button panel on the center stack that includes drive, neutral, and reverse. There's no conventional parking gear to select when it stops, just an electronic parking brake. A backup camera is available for added convenience, along with guidance lines and an array of parking sensors. In addition to 3 powertrain modes, the SSG can be driven automatically or manually by a set of rocker-type paddle shifters in the back of the steering wheel. Larger P1 inspired carbon fiber paddles are an option. They allow for semi-automatic or full manual shifting depending on which mode you're in. Upshifting can be done by pulling back on the right paddle or pushing the left paddle forward, vice versa for downshifts. In fact, you can pretty much manually shift with just one hand if you wanted. Each pull is accompanied by a satisfying clink with even greater response times in sport and track modes. A precog feature even allows you to prep the next gear by partially squeezing a paddle to let the car know you're about to make a gear change. Rather than having a limited slip differential out back, the 570S uses an open differential with a brake-based torque vectoring system that McLaren calls brake steer. Like the name suggests, it applies the inside rear brake to assist in cornering to reduce understeer and help the car rotate through tight corners, launching you out of the apex. An important change for this car is that the clutch control is now separate from the engine control. McLaren says this leads to greater refinement and even quicker gear changes than before. Just 5 minutes behind the wheel is all you need to be able to see how magical this setup is. When set to sport mode, shifts sound off like the crack of a whip, partly thanks to the cylinder cut feature. It first debuted on the 650S but was refined for the 675LT to not only work on upshifts but downshifts as well. Instead of cutting fuel like the prior system, it now cuts spark to slow the engine down in preparation for the next gear change. By doing this, the flow of fuel is maintained, so after the gear change occurs, combustion immediately resumes as fuel is already circulating. This increases reaction time by tenfold over the previous system, and at least in 675 leads to ridiculously quick gear changes that occur in as little as 40 milliseconds. That time is almost impossible to comprehend, but I have no doubt in my mind that the 570S is just as capable, if not very close. The rev matching is spot on, and it all seems to work in perfect harmony no matter how hard the car is driven. When set to track mode, another feature known as inertia push is activated. It works above 5,000 RPM and from 60% throttle input to harness the inertia of the flywheel and deliver an impulse of torque as the next gear is engaged. This delivers the next gear before engine speed drops for strong and continuous acceleration on the track. In the center console is McLaren's active panel. By pressing the button labeled active, you're able to use the two dials to alter handling and powertrain behavior via 3 modes, including normal, sport, and track. The handling being that the 570S does not have the hydraulically linked suspension, just controls the adaptive dampers, while the powertrain alters engine, transmission, and throttle behavior. You're also able to alter the stability control, switch between automatic and manual shifting, engage launch control, and disable the car's auto start-stop feature. My favorite piece of interior tech is the digital instrument cluster, which features a driver information system to the left, some status gauges to the right, and a big tachometer in the middle, in addition to other readouts. The central display changes based on whether you have the active panel on and what drive modes you have the car set to. For example, track mode enlarges the tachometer and adds a row of shift lights. The driver's information system is routed through a little stalk to the left of the steering wheel. You can tip it up, down, push it forward and backward, and there's a little OK button. You can switch between different menus like trip computer, fuel data, information, raising and lowering the front end lift system, navigation, media, and so much more. To the right hand side, again, you have different status gauges such as temperature for the gearbox, oil, water temperature, and that also changes depending on the drive mode. So let's go ahead and flip on the automatic LED exterior lighting, rear fog lamp, as well as the hazards. Both windows are fully automatic. Now let's go ahead and check out the exterior, shall we? With the launch of the 570S, McLaren is introducing their third and final product lineup known as the Sport Series. As the new entry point for the brand, slotted beneath the Super and Ultimate series, the Sport Series includes the 570S, the recently unveiled 570 GT, and the slightly more affordable 540C, although the latter isn't available in the United States at this time. With a starting price of $184,900, the 570S competes in the luxury sports car sector, populated by quite a lot of variety, including the Aston Martin Vantage V12S, Porsche 911 Turbo S, Audi R8 V10, and perhaps even the new Acura NSX and Mercedes-AMG GTS. As an extension of McLaren's motorsports DNA, the 570S emphasizes a lightweight design and a true sense of purpose. With a sleek, low-slung silhouette and an aggressive fixed aerodynamics package, it certainly brings some supercar flavor to the segment. Comparing size, the 570S is about 0.8 inches longer and 0.3 inches wider than a 650S, but shares an identical length wheelbase. While there's a number of similarities when it comes to the powertrain, general suspension design, and braking system, McLaren states that the vast majority of components used were developed specifically for the sports series. For starters, the 570S is the first road-going McLaren to use aluminum for the majority of its bodywork rather than carbon fiber or composites. In order to achieve the same level of detail and intricacy as other McLaren cars, it uses a process called superforming, in which hot aluminum is blown into complex shapes over a mold, very similar to what we've seen in many Bentley products. Aluminum is used for the front and rear fenders, bonnet, rear deck, lower sections of the dihedral doors, and roof. Composites make its way across the upper sections of the doors, including the floating tendons and splitter. The switch to aluminum not only lowers production costs, but it offers superior finish when it comes to higher production volumes and even lessens repair costs. Dark palladium body accents come standard on the 570S, but if your pockets are deep enough, McLaren also offers many of those same parts in exposed carbon fiber, including the front aero blades, side skirts, door inserts, side intakes, rear diffuser, and so much more. To see the full extent of the available carbon fiber work, including MSO options like the engine cover, roofline, and rear fascia, be sure to check out McLaren's online configurator. Of course, aerodynamics played a crucial role in this car's design, making sure airflow is properly managed in the most efficient way possible to create downforce and minimize drag. Up front, there's a defined point of pressure in the fascia that causes air to be sent above, below, and to either side. Two large aero blades to either side of the front bumper create a high-pressure area ahead of the low-temperature radiators to draw air in more effectively. The hood lines not only look cool but help direct air over the raised wheel arches, down the doors, and to the side intakes to feed the high-temperature radiators. Facilitating this are the P1-inspired floating door tendons which, in addition to little spoilers beneath the side view mirrors, guide large volumes of air into the side intakes. At the leading edges of the wheel arches are little tire spoilers. Along with the side skirts, these reduce air turbulence as air travels around and down the body. Perhaps my favorite touches are the flying buttresses out back, designed specifically to counteract aerodynamic lift over the roof. The air that travels through them equalizes the areas of low pressure created by the convex roof to increase downforce. They also increase the flow of cool air over the engine bay. The concave rear window is another neat touch, one example of why the 570S has excellent rearward visibility for its class. At the trailing edge of the level rear deck is an integrated fixed spoiler. Down in the lower fascia, there's an aggressive and complex rear diffuser that draws out air from the flat underbody to generate even more downforce. The 570S is the only car in its segment to use a full carbon fiber chassis. Known as the Monocell 2, it's similar to the chassis used in the Super Series and shares the same length wheelbase, but features side sills that are lower by a little more than 3 inches and a bit narrower as well to aid ingress and egress. The primary focus was to enhance day-to-day usability by boosting interior space and increasing shoulder room. On top of that, the dihedral doors on the 570S have been designed with a greater range of operation, leading to a larger opening. The monocell weighs about 165 pounds and is 25% stiffer than a comparable aluminum chassis. This not only benefits handling, agility, and ride comfort, but safety as well. The inherent strength that comes from a carbon fiber monocoque requires no additional bracing or reinforcements, which would otherwise add to weight. Front and rear aluminum subframes bolt up to the monocoque and provide support for the suspension and powertrain. The extrusions and castings lead to easier and less costly repairs along with better energy absorption in the event of an accident. The 570S offers 3 different wheel sets to choose from. All measure 19 by 8 inches in front and 20 by 10 inches in the rear. Our tester is equipped with one of 2 super lightweight options that save a combined 15.4 pounds over the standard 14-spoke forged aluminum wheels. Each wheel is available in either silver, stealth, or diamond cut finishes for added personalization. Bespoke Pirelli P0 Corsa tires come standard, 2 25/35s in front and 2 85/35s in the rear. They deliver an outstanding level of grip through the corners and greater traction during standing start acceleration thanks to their stiffer sidewalls and treads. P0 All Seasons are also available as a no-cost option, which are better suited for colder climates and inclement weather. Bringing the 570S to a stop from 60 miles an hour takes just 108 feet thanks to a lightweight carbon ceramic braking system and new ABS software that's bespoke to the Sport Series. By reducing pulsation under hard stops, it delivers far greater confidence and terrific pedal feel that's perfectly proportionate to how much pressure you're applying. The cross-drilled and internally ventilated discs measure 15.5 by 1.4 inches in front and 15 by 1.3 inches in the rear, and are clamped down by 6-piston and 4-piston calipers respectively. The 570S also benefits from new stability and traction control systems that intervene less depending on the mode you have them set to in order to give the driver more control over the car on the track. For the first time, stability control can now be controlled independently from the car's 3 handling modes. Along with being able to leave stability control on or turn it off completely, there's also a new dynamic mode. These 3 settings can be selected when the car is dialed into either sport or track handling modes. A 4-wheel independent double wishbone suspension with front and rear anti-roll bars delivers every bit of handling prowess you'd expect from a McLaren. The big difference here is that the 570S does not feature McLaren's proactive chassis control system. For those who don't know, that system uses dampers that are hydraulically linked to a gas-filled accumulator that are able to adapt to changing road conditions automatically, smooth out imperfections, and negate the need for conventional roll bars. The level of adaptability depends on which handling mode you have the car set to. Aside from having roll bars, the 570S uses standard 3-mode adaptive dampers to fine-tune the suspension's behavior, balancing wheel articulation and compliance. That being said, it's not going to ride as well as the active setups on the Super Series cars. You will feel everything down to the littlest road crack, but it does not diminish how well this car handles and the smile it brings to your face. You really don't notice any body roll to begin with, and when the car is set to normal, everything is compliant enough to still ride surprisingly well for what it is. Overall length is 178.3 inches with a width of 82.5 inches and a height of 47.3 inches. It rides on a 105.1-inch wheelbase and has a curb weight just under 3,200 pounds. 58% of that weight rides over the rear. The 570S is powered by a modified version of McLaren's mid-mounted twin-turbocharged 3.8-liter V8. Known internally as the M838TE, about 30% of its components are new compared to the Super and Ultimate Series cars. The engine resides underneath a fixed aluminum cover with plenty of mesh vents and open sections at the tail end to facilitate heat extraction. The only access point to anyone outside of a service technician is a small flap that reveals the coolant and oil caps. The block and heads are aluminum with a valve train that consists of dual overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, variable intake and exhaust valve timing, and sequential multi-port fuel injection. The compression ratio is set at 8.7 to 1, while maximum engine speed peaks around 8,500 RPM. Oil is delivered via dry sump lubrication. In conjunction with a flat plane crankshaft, the engine is able to sit deep within the chassis for a lower center of gravity. For the first time, an auto start-stop system is standard, which should improve fuel economy and emissions. New 60-degree camshaft phase controllers also improve emissions while providing greater control and response by reducing internal engine inertia. McLaren deleted the engine's vacuum system to save an additional 5.5 pounds and reduce engine complexity. It develops an incredible 570 PS or 562 horsepower at 7,400 RPM and 445 pound-feet of torque between 5,000 and 6,500 RPM. Compared to the 650S, which develops 641 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque, peak power in the 570S comes on a tad higher in the RPM range, and the torque curve is less broad. I can't speak from a driving comparison point of view, as this is the first McLaren I've driven, but I do know this was done to make the 570S easier to manage when it comes to daily driving. All that matters is the massive smile that comes on your face when you hammer the throttle. It's ridiculously quick. With these numbers and considering how lightweight the 570S is, it's able to rocket to 60 miles an hour in just 3.1 seconds and fly through the quarter mile in 10.9 seconds while traveling 137 miles per hour. Top speed is claimed to be 204 miles per hour. Providing aural entertainment is a new stainless steel exhaust system featuring equal length manifolds and hydroformed pipes to optimize the flow of exhaust with consistent and uniform back pressure. However, our tester features the optional sports exhaust. It's made from Inconel, which is an alloy of nickel containing chromium and iron. Not only does it shed a bit of weight and provide greater heat resistance, but it delivers an even more aggressive sound. This really is one of the best sounding McLarens I've heard to date. The exhaust tips can be found at the bottom outside edges of the rear fascia. You also have the option of silver or stealth finishers. The 570S carries a 19-gallon fuel tank and requires premium unleaded. Estimated mileage ranges between 16 miles to a gallon in the city and 23 on the highway, with an average of 19 miles to a gallon. The interior of the 570S departs a bit from McLaren's typical designs by implementing more floating and layered elements to create a greater sense of openness while further emphasizing the car's lightweight design. The signature dihedral doors continue to make a statement and are available with a soft close option. As one of McLaren's most customizable cars to date, the interior is offered with 4 different standard trim packages, including 3 with Nappa leather and 1 with a sporty combination of leather and Alcantara. You also have the option of 10 by McLaren interior themes that have been designed in-house to feature exclusive colors and materials that focus on either contemporary, luxury, or sport. Each theme is designed to accentuate key aspects of the interior, simplify the specification process, and add a unique touch. The jet black Apex red interior you see here is an example of a by McLaren design. As expected, the quality of materials are first rate with excellent attention to detail when it comes to blending the mixed media. It feels like a true blend between a luxury sports car and a supercar, while introducing a level of simplicity that's hard to match, making it a highly unique offering in this segment. With excellent ergonomics and a clean, minimalist layout, there's little in the way of distractions. Everything is within reach and is easily understandable. Seemingly endless amounts of carbon fiber components can be specified for more of a motorsports vibe, including the steering wheel spokes and paddle shifters, window switch surrounds, infotainment surround, and the central control bridge. The door panel inserts, sill finishers, and transmission tunnel can also be had in carbon fiber. As far as the seating, there's actually 2 different styles. The standard seats offer good, well-rounded comfort and lateral support for everyday use. They also make great use of the lower sills for easier ingress and egress. However, if you're looking for a more at-one feeling with the car, especially if you plan on regular track use, you may want to consider the carbon fiber racing seats. First used in the P1, they shed 33 pounds of weight over the standard ones, feature a one-piece backing with manual fore and aft adjustments, and provide holes to insert racing harnesses. Depending on your body type, the racing seats are also offered in 2 sizes, regular or touring. The only real downsides would likely be long-term comfort and the fact that they take a lot more care when climbing in and out versus the standard sports seats. The racing seats are not only very firm, but really keep you in place. This is awesome through corners, and they do offer a surprising amount of lower back support. But since there's not much wiggle room, you may find yourself needing to adjust yourself more often on long trips. Regardless, the driving position is spot on with excellent forward visibility. While the sports seats also come with manual adjustments as standard, plus electric height adjustment for the driver, 8-way fully electric and heated sports seats with 2-person memory for the driver and passenger are available alongside an electric adjusted steering column and comfort entry and exit feature. In addition to the strength provided by the carbon fiber monocoque, the 570S comes with 6 airbags, including 2 front, 2 side, and 2 knee airbags. Each door also has a manual release lever in case of emergency. The best thing about this car is how it was designed to not only deliver incredible joy out on the road, but that it's a very livable car for the performance it's capable of. Even though there's not a ton of interior storage, what space is available is utilized very well. There's trays across the middle, a center console, cubbies across each door panel, and a pretty large parcel shelf behind the seats. The latter is a bit easier to get to and can fit larger items with the sports seats, as the backrest is able to be tipped forward a lot further for extra room. In addition to the option of colored seat belts and carbon fiber backrests for the sports seats, the headliner can be had in either textile, leather, or Alcantara. Now let's go ahead and see how she sounds. In the center of the dash is a vertical 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Unlike the Super and Ultimate Series cars, the screen is not connected to the transmission tunnel, which frees up storage space and makes it easier to access the cup holders below the dash. The vertical orientation of the screen also makes it possible for the driver and passenger to sit closer to the car's center line. The 570S offers 3 different audio systems. In addition to either 4 or 8 speaker setups, the top-of-the-line Bowers & Wilkins surround sound system develops 1,280 watts through 12 speakers and a digital 14-channel amplifier. You can always tell when a 570S has this system by the unique tweeter mounted in the center of the dash that almost looks like a directional microphone. The infotainment system contains all of the media options including satellite radio and Bluetooth streaming, navigation, hands-free telephone, and a variety of apps such as real-time weather updates. The entire climate control system is also routed through here for simplicity and weight savings. It's all pretty intuitive and responsive. McLaren claims it's their most advanced setup to date. Another cool feature is the available track telemetry system, which records lap and sector times with accompanying vehicle information. You can even take it one step further by opting for the one that adds 3 track cameras. In the center console there's a bit of storage, a power outlet, and some USB ports, while on the top stack there's an auto-dimming review mirror, your LED interior lighting, and visors with vanity mirrors. To the right side of the steering column you have your electric mirrors and parking sensor activation. The stalks around the steering column correspond to your wipers and cruise control to the right, to the left your turn signals, high beams, driver information, and front-end lift systems. Again, recapping the storage, you have little pockets in the door panels, very handy for smaller items, a big shelf out back, a little net in between the seats and on the right-hand side of the transmission tunnel, not to mention little pockets at the edges of the seats. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and shut her down. Pop the boot. And we'll hop out, check out trunk space. Up front, you'll find that the 570S has about 5 cubic feet or 144 liters worth of cargo space, which is more than you would get with an Audi R8, but about the same as a Porsche 911. It's a pretty deep cargo well overall. In conjunction with the interior storage spaces, it should make for a pretty decent traveling car. There's also LED illumination, a 12-volt power outlet, and some easy access to fluid reservoirs. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the all-new McLaren 570S.
Be sure to stay tuned next time. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care, everyone.
From 2000 to 2003, the S2000 was powered by a naturally...
Wow!
Oh, yeah!
Wow!
That was awesome!